start to invest in their own spiritual home in town, they become citizens. They begin to share the burdens and responsibilities as well as the privileges of citizenry. Not only do we see them differently, they see their place in town differently. They begin to invest. They begin to live an open life. And over the course of a few years, they really become neighbors. And I think the situation of the Muslim in Manchester will be improved for all people, especially Muslims, if they have their own mosque. I believe it. I know it.
And let me ask you, now you try to kind of give people some general background about what Islam is, who Muslims are, and those are the people who come to your church. Do you have any other venues that you use to kind of reach the people who don't come to your church?
I have two. One is the local newspaper, the Union Leader, has seen fit on a few occasions to publish an op-ed piece. And I've written a few for particular occasions, and I'm pleased that they've run them. But I also, in another paper in town called the Manchester Express, I write a weekly column called Matters of Faith. And I try to address the heart of Manchester, the average citizen of this city, talking about issues and experiences in areas of religion and faith that they can quickly identify with. But then I try to put an angle of reflection on it to tweak and nudge people a little bit, to move them forward a little bit in their attitude and their understanding, but in a way that does not appear to be academic, does not appear to be overly intellectual, is really a man-on-the-street column. And through that venue, I consistently and sometimes insistently push at the boundaries of ignorance and the need for knowledge, and promote the notion of positive community goodwill and understanding in our city. And one of the things that's pleased me is how many people read this happily. I hear some of the homeless people in the park right across the street who tell me they wait for Thursdays to read that column, and there are lawyers in town and physicians who read the column, which tells me I'm finding the heart of the city. And one of the messages which crops up probably at least once a month is positive interfaith relations across the board. I try to do it with humor, try to do it with color and verve and fun, but the implicit message is there. We have a community. We need to work together. We need to be a community which understands itself, respects itself, and welcomes each other.
I know you get an opportunity from time to time to people come to you with questions about Islam. A common question I always find, and people had something against Islam only because there's no place for Jesus in Islam. I heard this so many times that I was really against Islam because you don't believe in Jesus. You know, do you ever hear this question?
Yes, we do. I've taught classes here on, I did one back 3 months ago on Islam and Christianity. And saying, I'm not Muslim, I'm not an expert, I'm still learning, I will share with you what I've learned. And one of the books that I shared with people is a book called The Muslim Jesus, to understand how Islam looks at the figure of Jesus, because he is noted there and respected there. But it's different. It's not the Christian understanding of Jesus, but there is an understanding of Jesus in Islam. And so that can be lifted up. So if I run into areas of misconception or ignorance, to the extent that I feel comfortable and confident in what I know, I will address it immediately. If I don't know, I'm going to go learn, because anybody who asks me a question for which I do not have the answer, that becomes what I call homework. I need to go learn. And so I keep reading and learning and knowing that given the size of Islam throughout the world and the history since the 7th century, I got a lot of catching up to do. Well,
Reverend, I thank you very much for really sharing with us the efforts you're putting into interfaith dialogue, not trying to convert or something, just trying to inform. So at least people can make informed decisions about what they think about Islam and Muslims. And I know you're not in a position to know how things are going all around America, but here in Manchester, New Hampshire, what do you think the future is for the Muslims of Manchester?
Positive, without any question. Manchester in many ways is a microcosm of America. All of the hope, all of the fear, all of the indifference, all of the susceptibility to the media, it all happens right here. And yet, the history of this city is that give us time and we will work our way to a community. For example, this church was founded by English and Scots-Irish who hated each other because their religion and cultures were different. Today, those differences have been erased, completely and utterly erased. And I watch in this city how bridges are built consistently between peoples. It takes time in this city. It doesn't happen fast. But the history proves it does happen, and it does so in general without violence, which means I am extremely hopeful for this city. I have faith in these people because they're my people. I know them.
Okay. Reverend Christopher, thank you very much.
Thanks for the privilege.
For inviting us, and thanks for your effort to inform people about the truth about Islam and Muslims as you know it. And I hope that our viewers see here in the United States of America that we have people of the Christian faith and the Jewish faith who are willing to be fair with Muslims and really to give a good estimation of the reality of Islam and Muslims. And I invite you to join me as I continue to travel throughout the world of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha